On a dark and stormy night, the thunder rolled through the sky like a giant's belly, and lightning bolts illuminated the landscape in brief flashes of brilliance. The wind howled like a pack of wolves, and the rain hammered against the windows of the house like an army of tiny hammers. It was the kind of night that made you want to stay indoors, huddled under a blanket, with a cup of hot chocolate in one hand and a good book in the other. But in the small town of Millfield, one brave soul dared to venture out into the tempest. His name was Dark Brandon, and he was on a mission. He had heard that the local ice cream shop had just released a new flavor, chocolate chip. And as a self-proclaimed connoisseur of frozen desserts, he simply had to try it. Dark Brandon put on his raincoat and stepped out into the storm. The rain soaked his clothes and the wind buffeted him from side to side, but he didn't care. He was on a mission. He walked through the deserted streets, past closed shops and empty sidewalks until he finally arrived at the ice cream shop. He burst through the door, his raincoat dripping water all over the floor. The shop was empty, save for the young girl behind the counter who looked up at him with surprise. "I need a scoop of chocolate chip," Dark Brandon said, his voice firm and resolute. "Sure thing," the girl said, and went to work scooping the ice cream into a waffle cone. Dark Brandon watched intently as she handed it to him, his eyes fixed on the creamy, chocolatey goodness. He took a bite, and his eyes widened in delight. It was everything he had hoped for, rich chocolatey flavor, with bits of crunchy chocolate chips mixed in. He savored each bite, letting the flavors explode on his tongue until the cone was empty. But as he stepped outside, the storm had grown even worse. The wind howled louder, and the rain came down in sheets. Dark Brandon realized that he had forgotten to bring his car, and the ice cream shop was too far to walk. He looked down at the waffle cone in his hand and made a decision. He would ride his bike home no matter what. The only problem was Dark Brandon had never been very good at riding a bike. He had tried to learn as a child, but had never quite gotten the hang of it. And in the middle of a storm like this, with lightning bolts striking all around, it was going to be a difficult and dangerous journey. But Dark Brandon was determined. He hopped on his bike, clutching the waffle cone in one hand, and set off into the storm. Will Dark Brandon make it home safely through the storm on his bike? Will he manage to keep the chocolate chip ice cream from melting in his hand? Find out in part 2 of Dark Brandon and the chocolate chip ice cream, and make sure to subscribe to our channel to catch the exciting conclusion and more exciting stories to come. I am a Dark Brandon.